bunch of women, and they were like all from the same family. So there's like a generations of women talking and yapping and having a good time. And I got to be there, and man, you have a different dynamic when you're the only guy in a group of like women that are hanging out and having a good time, and you don't have another man dragging it down. So it can really get dragged down. Like, not everybody, obviously. There's ways that can work. But if one of them had brought their husbands, for instance, actually, I think one would have been cool. But you know, if you get like too many, the dynamic starts to fucking ruin. I think you just need to appreciate life more and appreciate the socializing, man. It's like taking for granted everything. It's like he can only ever couch women in like how they look and what they do for him. That's crazy. I think it was just nice to just enjoy what they're doing, see what they're into.
It's always the one that you like a lot, and I guarantee you, some of you are watching this video right now. You're dealing with a woman right now that you really fucking like.
You're dealing with her? What is that face? Yeah, I like women. Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, but it's over.
It's over. You like her, it's over. Jesus Christ. Bury yourself in the sand, man. Have some confidence, dude. Jesus fucking Christ. Can you imagine if all the guys this guy looked up to said, it's over? Like, what? What's the deal? You're so defeated.
It's over. She's going to lead you on. She's going to disappoint you. And she's going to be the one that seemingly got away.
All of them? All of them are going to be the one that got away? Seems like there's a common denominator in your experiences, and it's you.
It'd be like that time. It'd be like that every time, man. I swear to God, it'd be like that every single time. Like I said, it's not the one that you don't like that much, but she's around, you get along, whatever, cool. It's the one you don't expect to turn on you. It's the one you don't expect to betray you. It's the one that you like a whole lot, and you don't even know why. You just do. She's your type. You just got something for her. And she's all giddy with you. She's all cute and sweet and seemingly innocent. The only reason you like her that much, bro, is because it's a fucking lie. It is witchcraft. Women like this that get you to like them that much.
It sounds like pedophile stuff. Like all sweet and innocent. What? You trying to like prey on folks? Who's around here?
Never stay this way. This is my whole point. This is my whole point.
Women can't be nice around you, or else they're playing games. Have any whimsy?
I'd like to go into more detail to tell you guys what they're doing exactly and how they're doing it, bro. I really don't know. I really don't know how they're able to fake shit that good.
Fake what?
Like, the intent is there. The emotion involved feels very real.
So, are you saying that you thought someone was interested in you and then she wasn't, and so now you're mad at her? Sometimes you could just be pals, man. It's okay. Guys are weird.
It all feels very real. She's literally on your shit, bro. She's grinding your shit. She's looking at you in your eyes, and the pupils are going big. Like, there's every sign and indicator that she likes you a whole bunch.
Pupils are going big? Grinding your shit? What are you talking about? Was this at, like, a club? Where are we at? Was it a stripper? Wait, did he think the stripper actually liked him?
And the fact that it's like that gets you attached.
To what?
It makes you just start to like her a whole bunch, and there's just something about her, bro. The way she looks at you, the way things are going.
Yeah, bro.
The way you talk.
The way you talk. You don't need to say bro to anybody. Brother.
The way she's super involved and attached. She gives girlfriend vibes, but all of a sudden...
Girlfriend vibes?
A little more time goes on.
What?
And it all ends up being one big lie. It was just another Jezebel spirit, boys.
Jezebel spirit, boys!
It was just another Jezebel spirit, boys. I'm telling you, boys.
This does sound like an interaction with a stripper. Yeah. It sounds like, well, I went in a few times, and I was like, yeah, Chastity there. She comes by. Oh, hey, baby. What are you doing? Well, I had a hard day at work. Oh, cool. Did you want to dance? Yeah. I'll get a dance. Cool. Talk to me while we do that. Telling you, it's boys.
These are the ones you want to watch out for. It's not the ones that's, like I said, bro, like I've dated many women that were good looking, but I just didn't like them that fucking much. But I'm telling you, boys, every single one that I actually liked, there was just something about her. I just liked it.
You can never describe what you liked about these women, then you're not smart enough to have any of them. You're just not. Like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? He just liked her, huh? Why? Name one facet. It sounds like you've never dated anyone at all, really. It sounds like you have, like, crushes at work, and then you get weird, and then they're like, no, you have predator vibes.
It was able to get me in. It was able to get me invested. They were able to get me attached to a certain degree.
Not all the way, obviously. I wasn't hurt. It didn't hurt my feelings at all.
And you don't like those. Like, there's some women, bro, they're good looking, you'll talk to them. You just might even hook up, have some intimacy, whatever. You go your separate ways. You just don't care. Nothing wrong with her. She's not bad looking. You just don't really care. You just don't. And then there's some women, bro.
She's not bad looking. It's all what's with this bad looking stuff? It all sounds like he really wants other men to approve of his relationships with women, but he can't find any connection with them.
We'll deal with you'll kind of date a little bit.
Why do you even want that?
You don't want to lose them. You want to keep them. It's the ones you want to keep. It's the ones that you just see something
you want to keep.
Then that's something that you see. You know, that whatever it is that you see in her, it's some kind of witchcraft or some fake shit, bro. It's this.
It's always witchcraft with this guy.
This fake little sweet innocent act.
What's
women
this little sweet innocent shit?
These women, bro, know how to get a man. They know how to get men over. They know how to play this game, and all of a sudden they take over and they gain control. So I'm telling you now, it's all every single time. It's someone you like a whole lot, and you don't even know why.
Is he just gonna repeat himself?
You are a fool, bro. You think she's the one. It's happened to me. I couldn't tell you how many times.
Please tell us once. Please tell us about one.
I couldn't tell you how many times.
Give me one story of one of these times happening. Please. I'll be honest, pretty much every relationship ever that I've had that didn't work out was communication. Even when you're a kid, still communication. And, I mean, to some degree, like, lack of compatibility as well. That's obvious. But, like, still, that comes from communication. I personally think that if someone is willing to talk about whatever's going on, I am the type of person that would be amenable to having that conversation and making whatever work to whatever degree, even if it's just like, let's be friends and so you're not a psycho. I don't know why some people are very incapable of this. It's gotta, just take some therapy would be revelatory for this guy. But I'm looking around and nothing around here ever changes. He has a system. He's like, your protein cup ready to go. Come on, one thing. Nice. Like, he lives such a hollow existence even inside his own place.
And I'm starting to see the patterns. Like,
yeah, so no one has to like you. No one has to. It's totally fine.
I'm starting to think I got to end up with a woman that I don't like her that much right away. I just simply don't. Because
of course you don't like her that much right away.
And I don't know why I like her that much. You just do. Like, you want to see her again.
I can't believe that I like someone who wants to see her again. Like, what are you fucking talking about? That's bad, man. He's like embarrassed to like girls. What's the deal?
And yeah. And if you do, you just continue that path of seeing each other and shit, she just gets you even more attached. And you think she's the one. And as soon as you think this is who you're with, you're proven wrong once again. I'm starting to think we got to give some women out here more of a shot that we don't feel too much with right away. And it makes a lot of sense, bro, because we are being love bombed.
That's not love bombing.
A version of a woman that doesn't even really exist. That's my whole point about the witchcraft. She's playing some next level kind of witchcraft on your ass, bro. And I can't explain how they do it, but
he's sort of circling the fucking drain so far. The witchcraft here. Look at this. This is the face you make when someone does witchcraft on you. Witchcraft so far is, I don't even know, dude. I don't even know, bro. Just something they do, bro. It's the most fucking descriptive guy ever. This guy, the reason you don't have any relationships is because you can't bear your soul even to your.
It's not me.
You can't look into this fucking camera and be honest at all. He's saying nothing. He's giving no details. He has no life experience to actually fucking say anything. It's crazy.
I mean, think about it. Eve was good at fooling Adam.
Dude, I wonder why his brain's so fucked up.
Out here, bro, they can pull it off.
Yeah, bro.
So, like I said, I'm starting to think.
Yeah, Eve did.
We got to give more of a chance to the women. We don't really feel that much with right away, and just.
All right, Eve didn't know the difference between good and evil until after she picked the fruit from the tree of good and evil. So I don't want to hear it, okay, buddy? You ain't never thought about this. Not on my level.
Just give them more of a chance. Set up.
Would have been flattened.
Another date. Another.
Would have been squished.
You know what? You'll probably get attached if you keep seeing the same people all the time. You're probably gonna get attached.
Whoa! You might like people if you spend time with them. That's revelatory. I'm having a new look on life right now.
My issue is, bro, the very first girl I ever fell for in my life that I like literally loved so much I can't even describe it, bro.
Another classic situation where one of these incel MGTOW fucking Christian boys had a breakup when he was a child and in school, and he's like, I love this girl so much. Can't even describe. Would love to hear one description.
Was just a Jezebel. Manipulated me. She had these mental health issues and shit like that, and I fucking fell for her, bro, so hard. I don't even understand. Like, that.
She had these mental health issues. Can't believe she would do that. Can't believe women have mental health and issues at the same time.
That kind of set the tone for my dating life, because
that set the tone for my dating life when I was the first person I ever loved. Yeah. Your failure.
The way I was for a while after that, I understand more now, and I'm better off now. But at the time,
are you better off?
I had many more options after her, and I just didn't feel it, bro. Like, I just felt like I needed that in somebody else, if not better. If I talked to
you needed someone better, not her.
Other women, if it wasn't as good,
you were
it
fine.
Was more flat. I just didn't want it. I turned down lots of women in the past, especially after the breakup with her, which was my first ex, and I just didn't care for any of them, bro. I just needed that. She just felt so good, but it was a lie, obviously. She wasn't that. She just sold me on it.
You gotta move past something that happened decades ago. Stop it.
But that's the issue, bro. That was my idealization of love and what it feels like, and you need it at that intensity, but nothing real is going to be at that intensity. That's the fucking thing.
Real love isn't going to be intense? Said no one ever. There's, all those fucking love songs where they're like, real love is sort of mediocre, not really impactful on my life. All those songs. We haven't had the human experience exploring love from each one of us in billions of different ways from thousands of years. You're a hollow person without thought.
You got love bombed.
No.
I'm telling you guys this through my experience, bro. You got love bombed.
No. Love bombing is like, first of all, you have to be in the relationship with that person. You feeling like you are in love with someone and then it not being working out or something is not love bombing. Love bombing is like when someone tries to overcompensate with attention and gifts and praise and all sorts of different stuff and time to make up for either internally or externally faults in the relationship. It's often through apology after a phase of dispute or abuse or fighting, and then the other woman comes and they rope you back in. It's like, oh, well, maybe it'll work out because, see, they're so good sometimes. And then they do bad shit, and you're like, well, it's really bad. And then they come back, and you're like, oh, I'm doing good stuff too. And you're like, oh, I like that. And that's the cycle.
I'm telling you guys this through my experience, bro. You got love bombed. I got love bombed. It wasn't real. It would never stay like that. And this same girl even told me near the end of the relationship, if I really knew who she was, I wouldn't even like her. I wouldn't love her, nothing like this. And she was right. Telling you, boys.
You boys.
Dating, man.
Vulnerability. I mean, yeah, the dating is going to be a series of, like, not marrying everyone you date or whatever. It takes a lot of work to become a partner to somebody. The best relationships have had, you know, they have their big fight. They have their fucking drama points, and they've had to work through things, and they've gotten better for it, and, like, it just happens. This is pathetic to me. Put yourself out there. Get hurt. Feel something. Make friends. Have relationships. Go through it. You'll find that you are also participating in the relationship and play a role in its success or failure. And really, I mean, success or failure isn't even the right word. There are times you spend with people. Have a good time while you're with people.
Because
and it'll all work out. And that's what we're looking for. And sometimes people are going to go through bad times. Help them through them. And if they reciprocate, it's a good relationship. And if they don't, it's a bad one. And are you reciprocating? He's not a good time boy. You're right.
And this is why the girl you like the most is leading you on.
Nope.
I'm telling you, boys.
Nope.
It's dangerous out there, but if you have this knowledge, you're a little safer. You know, you're a little bit safer, and I think I have a good point. Maybe we gotta give the ones, and I'm giving you guys this lesson right now. Maybe you gotta give the ones that you don't feel that much with right away more of a shot. You just gotta keep seeing them, bro. You might not want to. You might not have this hunger to do it. You don't like her that much. She's pretty good looking, but there's just something about her. You just don't feel it that much.
I don't understand why this is... The advice should be learn from each relationship what everybody did right and wrong. Do the boy math in your head. Be honest with yourself. And then adjust. Just settle, bro.
I just think, bro, like... Because women have their experiences with men as well. They say things like, oh, he's not who he was at first and all this kind of stuff.
You think a woman has had experiences with you, perhaps?
I can't take away anything from those women that say that because it's true. Women have bad experiences as well. It's just that I'm not a woman and I'm not going to make videos on anything else because I'm not a woman. I am a man who have dealt with women, so that's what I do.
Oh, okay. Do you think that your experiences with women explain the breadth and scope of everybody else's relationships? Because it seems to me that you're not even capable of actually having them. So without being able to experience them, how would you have any expertise on the matter? You know? The rest of us also have sex and whatever. But do you have relationships?
Yeah, I mean, it's all
great.
It's all...
Dude, this
started since the beginning, bro, and we had to learn all these lessons through all the shit that we've ever been through since the beginning up until now.
Oh, so you see how Adam and Eve and his belief in Jezebel's spirits has led to rampant misogyny throughout his life? Another great example of why believing in untrue things stains your personality, your mind, your ethics, and it makes you a worse person.
Right away, when you're dating somebody new. 99 times out of 100, it is. It is. It's too good to be true. It's not going to last. That's not who you think she is. You're going to find out.
You think 99% of all relationships are just bad? That seems high.
And I don't mean to make you guys paranoid about some girl you're dealing with right now, but bro, I got to tell you the truth. I got to tell you the truth.
Don't be paranoid, but you really should be.
Some dangerous shit, bruh. And if you just want to let your guard down because you like her so much and you're just all in on it, might be the biggest mistake of your life.
Oh.
Because shit like that, bro, it's hard to come back from. It's hard to come back from.
From a breakup? It doesn't even sound like you have that much entwinement. What do you mean? It's not really. If you don't live together, breakups are not that hard. Like, emotionally, they can be difficult or whatever, but, like, have some breakups. They're good for you. Go through people over time and find out what's good and bad about your relationships, and you'll find that you have the capacity to be a good partner when hopefully you finally meet someone who is also capable of that for you. If you're not capable of being a good partner when someone comes through your life and is also capable of that for you, I mean, you're going to fumble the bag on this all your life? Go out there, socialize. Most people like socializing in positive ways and also like attention. Like, anything you feel like you want for yourself, any closeness or intimacy or friendship or any of that, other people also want that. But just like you, there needs to be comfort and rapport and reciprocity and all of those things. Every single person is a person. Whoa.
Because you're not going to feel like actually being with anybody else for a while. It's going to fuck you up in the head for probably a year or more. And your trust just goes down even further. You just don't know what to think. Or
I don't think any one person's actions have a bearing on any other person's actions in a vacuum. Like, one woman acting one way doesn't make another woman act a way as well. I mean, if people continue to have similar interactions with you over and over, you are the common denominator. Once again, you're the guy in these relationships that these patterns keep creeping up on. Why? I wonder why.
Or anything, and then all the women you're going to date after that, it's just not the same, and she's not the same as this one, and I don't want to date anybody else, bro. If you're ever in a position where you like a girl a whole bunch, and let's say you're on a coaching call with me, and I tell you, man, you know what, just talk to other women, and you tell me something back like, I don't feel like it, man. Like, I just don't want to talk to others right now. You are with a woman right now. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, you're with a woman right now who is manipulating the ever-living fuck out of you. Wow. I'm telling you right now.
They're all manipulators. Every woman is manipulating you. No woman is honest. That's what the takeaway is here. Brainless.
She got you brainwashed. She got you hooked on an idealized version of herself, which ideally is good for you. That's why she shows you that version of her, so you will get attached. Now she's controlling you. This is why you have negative experiences with this woman. She rubs you the wrong way. She ghosts you sometimes because she's manipulating you. It's not genuine.
She ghosts you sometimes?
It's not love. There's a reason you're having issues with her, bro. She's not who you think.
I think it's really weird if you're constantly, like, monitoring what's going on. Ghost you sometimes? It's not ghosting if it's sometimes. What do you mean? What do you mean ghosting?
And the fact that you don't want to talk to others...
Which means she doesn't look at her phone 100%?
...is an indicator you are attached to her. But you're attached to a version of her that doesn't even exist. If you knew the real her, you wouldn't even like it. You wouldn't even like her. She's portraying a fake, false version of herself, which you're that you're attached to, and obviously attracted to. So now you're cut off to everything else, every other option. I'm telling you, boys,
you're cut off to everything.
So every time he says "use boys," I want to kick his ass.
Ghost me every night when he goes to sleep before me. Holy shit!
It's gonna happen to you from time to time. It's going to happen. It still happens to me the odd time. Not much anymore, but the odd time, bro, I swear to God. You just kind of go with it, and yeah, you like her. You start to like her some and stuff like this, and then some weird shit happens. The difference between now and back then is I completely went into it, completely got fooled, completely got manipulated, and now I can figure these Jezebels out, bro, within weeks.
I can figure these Jezebels out within weeks, dude. Weeks. I can't describe to you anything that I like about them. I can't do anything, but I can figure them out in weeks. After I got what I wanted out of the interaction, it took weeks.
Within weeks, I can.
Van fucking Helsing, dude.
It's dangerous, bro.
Fuck out.
It's these types of women. That's the most dangerous. You think you got something going. It's this instant connection. There's these instant good feelings that's involved. It's not what you think.
It really just sounds like once you get to know someone and there's any sort of like thing to deal with that isn't just good vibes, you're done. And it's too much for you. Seems like it's your problem.
So just be aware of that, man. I'm not trying to shit on your parade. I'm not trying to ruin something good that you have going on. You have nothing good going on. You just think you do. And I'm here to tell you the truth.
You have nothing good going on.
Like a good brother would. I've been through it. Countless amounts of other guys have been through it. Take it from us.
Take it from us, guys with failed relationships. Yours will fail too, for sure, definitely.
That's pretty much it with this video, boys. I gotta get these sweet potatoes out of the oven. That's great timing. It's 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. Good timing. I'm about to have me some sweet potatoes with butter, cinnamon, onion powder, a little bit of sea salt in them, and a nice steak. And it's gonna be... But anyways, guys, yeah, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys
That's a
next
fucking idiot. Pretty sad. Yeah, I was watching a video.
Marco Bucci claims he became a professional artist with no art school and no art talent. Now, I can understand the no art school part. Most art information today is available online for free or through the multitude of paid courses and mentorships that are available to you. But the no talent part, how did he determine that? Did he do a blood test that came back negative for any trace of talent antibodies? Did he take an aptitude test that concluded that his level of artistic ability was below average? No. As proof of his lack of talent, Marco shows the sketchbook that he submitted to art school prior to any art training. And apparently this stands in as proof that he didn't have any artistic talent. But that's not really what it shows. What it actually shows is that Marco, while being a very good artist, has little understanding of what talent actually is and how it relates to his own experience. And Marco isn't unique in this. More and more, I'm seeing artists put out videos claiming that talent simply doesn't exist. And if it does, it doesn't really matter when it comes to art. A lot of them will tell you they aren't talented, that they were terrible when they started. They'll tell you they just practiced, and that anyone could do what they did if they put in enough work. And sometimes they're right, but sometimes they're completely wrong. Because being talented doesn't necessarily mean you were amazing on day one. And working incredibly hard doesn't prove that you weren't talented. In fact, some of the people telling you that talent doesn't matter may be benefiting from advantages they don't even recognize as talent. In this video, I'm going to take a deep
It really reminds you of
talented artists get wrong about talent, explain what exactly talent is, and why so many popular artists on YouTube seem to want nothing to do with it. And lastly, we're going to touch on why this matters at all. Why not just work?
Mike is sucked up. It's too loud.
We'll get to that.
How about now?
So, does natural talent even exist? Let's start and get this out of the way first. Does natural talent exist? I think there is a pretty clear-cut case that it does. This is Alec, In this video, he was just 5 years old and was already a piano prodigy,
How about
performing
now? Is that
incredibly
okay?
well at just the age of 5. Yes, he practices. Yes, he takes it seriously. Yes, he works hard. But do you really think it was practice alone that got him here at 5 years of age? If you think any 5-year-old
How
can
about now?
accomplish this with enough practice, I think you may be living on
How
another
fucked
planet.
is it now?
And what about
That's
the
it.
natural, or in this case,
Okay.
almost unnatural, early fascination with the piano? Is that something you can train? Because I don't think so. This is clearly talent that can be expressed in humans in all kinds of different areas and all kinds of different ways. And there is also a very wide distribution of how this is expressed. You have the extreme prodigies. You have the normal abilities that most human beings possess. And then you have people that, yes, may have very little natural ability in a particular area. And if we're talking about a normal
I like watching
bell curve, something else should be obvious.
art YouTubers who are willing to kind of shit on other art YouTubers because I don't have the guts to do it.
As those displaying
I'm too much of a pussy.
level of talent. If we're talking about the extremes of the bell curve, the person that is claiming to have essentially zero natural ability should be almost as unusual as our 5-year-old piano prodigy. And just like the prodigy, it should be pretty obvious. They should be so awful that everyone gathers around in amazement. Wow, I have never seen anyone be this bad at piano after so much practicing. But I don't see any evidence of that in Marco's work. In fact, quite the opposite. He clearly has some talent. So what is going on here? I think we need to make one distinction before we go any further. Talent is not the same thing as ability. Ability is what you can do right now. Talent is about the characteristics that make certain abilities easier, faster, or potentially allow you to develop a higher level of ability given enough practice. And this is important. Your ability when you start out tells you very little about your level of talent. Think about our piano prodigy, Alec. When he was a baby and first started banging on a piano, that was his current ability. And that ability was probably not much different from any other baby that got near a piano. They banged on it. They make horrible noises. They're both equally awful. But Alec's starting ability told us nothing about whether he had talent for the piano. And this is where I think Marco's sketchbook becomes really interesting, because those drawings tell us what his ability was at that moment. They don't tell us what his talent was. Talent can reveal itself in a lot of different ways. Maybe your initial performance is better than expected, and this seems to be what most people focus on, as if this is the only thing talent does. But there are more ways talent affects us. Maybe you learn something unusually quickly. Maybe you have a greater sensitivity to certain things. You may notice mistakes, you may notice patterns or proportions. Maybe you have an unusual ability to just sit down and stay focused for long periods of time, or even retain and recall information better. Maybe for you, the same amount of practice produces a lot more improvement in you, and it could even be that eventually you have a potentially higher ceiling of skill. And while this isn't an exhaustive list, it is also important to remember that these things can also exist in different combinations. You might be very good in one dimension and completely average or even below average in another. It should be becoming very clear that it's complicated. It's not as simple as saying, I can't do X, therefore I have zero talent. And I think this is the bigger problem. The person with talent often doesn't know exactly what made things easier for them. They don't necessarily know what sets them apart from the other person. The person without obvious talent often doesn't know what they're capable of. and neither person can accurately determine their future from where they are right now. You have to recognize that talent can be difficult to recognize from the inside. And now that we've cleared up these major misconceptions about talent, let's look at some of the reasons talented artists get this wrong. Reason number one is the I was terrible when I started, so I don't have talent. This is probably the most common one. I was terrible, therefore I wasn't talented. And I understand the logic. You look at your first drawings, they're terrible. Then you look at what you can do now, and you think, well, obviously I wasn't talented, I just practiced. But again, as we have already said, what exactly does being bad at something before you've learned it tells about your potential to learn it? Not much. So maybe someone starts drawing and they're terrible, but they have an unusual ability to recognize visual patterns, understand spatial relationships intuitively. Maybe they remember visual information unusually well. And once they're given instruction, they improve extremely quickly. Maybe they have unusually good hand to eye coordination. None of these things show up as, wow, you're talented on day one. And this is why initial performance is an indicator. It can tell you something, but it isn't the definition of what talent is. And I think this is why Marco's example is so weak as evidence for a lack of talent. His sketchbook tells us that he wasn't good yet. That's true. But being bad at something is evidence that you're bad at it right now. That's all. It doesn't tell you exactly where you're going to end up. There's another mistake talented people make when they look back at their own development, and I think this one is even more important. Number two, if I had talent, I wouldn't have had to work this hard. This is one I hear all the time.
I'm so
If we have
sneezy today.
talent,
Holy
we just
shit.
work really hard. But the question to ask is, why are those things mutually exclusive? Do you think Usain Bolt just worked harder than anyone else, and that's why he has the world record in the 100-meter dash? Is the fastest person
Oh,
simply the
fucking
person who
fuck.
worked
I'm just gonna
the
doodle
hardest?
today, and I think I'm
Maybe
gonna
it's
do
training. Okay. Well, let's look at the African distant runners. They seem to have
a tutorial review.
incredibly effective training systems and some geographical and environmental advantages. And that makes a difference for sure. But there are thousands of African runners training under these exact same conditions and using the same training systems. And yet, only a fraction of those rise to the very top. Are those persons just working harder than everyone else around them? No. There are other advantages being expressed in these individuals. If you don't want to call it talent, fine, call it something else. But these are naturally talented runners. And this is the important part. Talent doesn't mean you don't have to work. In fact, if you're trying to become extremely good at something, you're probably going to have to work incredibly hard, regardless of how talented you are. Talent doesn't exempt you from practice. It can, however, change what practice does. Practice and hard work are obviously more important than talent alone. But that's
Y'all
not
don't
the
like my
same thing as
orange.
saying
Why
talent
you hate
doesn't
my
matter.
orange?
Because practice and hard work plus talent can produce a different result than practice and hard work can alone. So you can't discount hard work, but you also can't discount talent. And I think this is one of the main reasons why so many YouTube artists want nothing to do with talent. Because they feel like if they have talent, it somehow diminishes all of the hard work they've put in. And naturally, they don't want that. I wouldn't want that. They want credit for the hard work that they've done, and rightly so. They've worked incredibly hard. But because there isn't an objective standard by which they can demonstrate exactly how hard they work and how much work they put in, the easiest way to make the argument feel fair is to put everyone on the same playing field. I wasn't talented, I just worked. But talent doesn't diminish hard work. Every Olympic athlete, from the person who wins the gold medal to the person who comes last in the slowest heat, has almost certainly put in an enormous amount of work and sacrifice to get there. Everyone at that level has worked incredibly hard. That doesn't mean some aren't more talented than others. In fact, once everyone has worked incredibly hard, talent can be one of the things that sets them apart. And that's a very different way of looking at it. But there's another problem when you don't recognize the advantages you have. You start assuming that the thing that worked for you is the thing that everyone else needs. Which brings us to our next problem. Number 3. What worked for me is what will work for everyone else. A talented artist discovers something. Maybe it's gesture drawing, maybe it's construction, anatomy, perspective, maybe it's drawing every day, or maybe it's a particular course they took. They started drawing from imagination, or even, let's say, copying the masters, and it works. They improve. And naturally, they want to tell other people about it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The problem is when you move from this worked for me to this is what beginners need. Because you don't actually know that. You know that it worked for you. You don't necessarily know why it worked for you. Maybe the method is genuinely excellent, or maybe you were particularly well suited for it. And those two things are very different. Your bottleneck might not be someone else's bottleneck. Imagine two people who are struggling with drawing. Person A doesn't understand perspective, but person B understands perspective intuitively. If you give them both the same perspective course, one might improve dramatically. The other might spend 6 months wondering why none of this is helping. And then we blame the student. You just aren't practicing correctly. Maybe. Or maybe you're solving the wrong problem. This is particularly important when you look at something like elite athletes. If a training system is built around an athlete who was an extreme outlier, like Usain Bolt, you cannot assume that reproducing the training will actually reproduce the athlete. There is something special about the athlete also. The training helped, yes, and good training will help you develop. But training didn't create every characteristic that made that person exceptional. There are things that no training plan can simply manufacture. And I think the same thing happens in art. Misconception number 4. It's just about expressing yourself. That's what's important. Now, I actually like this idea. I think expression is an important part of art, and I'm not interested in turning art into some giant standardized test where everyone has to draw the same perfectly proportioned human figure. But sometimes it's about expression gets used as if expression somehow eliminates individual differences and talent. It doesn't. Self-expression is also a skill, and people can have different advantages there too. Some people will have stronger storytelling instincts and better aesthetic judgment. Some people will have stronger visual imagination, while others are just unusually good at communicating ideas visually. And some people just aren't good at these things. Changing the definition of success to expression doesn't make individual differences disappear. It just moves the goalposts. And this is why I think so many conversations about talent go nowhere. Because at the base of all of this, we haven't fully accepted that we as humans are all slightly different, which, ironically, is the very thing that makes art beautiful. Misconception number 5. They think talent is everything or nothing. This is what I see many of the discussions centered around. There are basically two extremes. Talent doesn't exist, anyone can become anything if they work hard enough. And on the other hand, talent determines who succeeds. I think both of these are too simplistic. Talent is not everything, but talent is also not nothing. It's one piece of a much larger collection of advantages and circumstances. You could almost write it out as an equation. Outcome equals, say, starting characteristics, learning rate, plus practice, plus environment, add in some motivation, plus opportunities, and add in even a little bit of randomness. Talent is somewhere in that equation. It's important, but it isn't the entire equation. Someone could have tremendous potential for basketball and never discover it because they never played basketball. Someone else may have modest natural advantages and become excellent because they practice intelligently for 15 years. Someone might have enormous talent and never develop it because they don't have the opportunity. There are so many things that come to bear on the final outcome. And this is why I don't think the right answer is talent determines everything. It doesn't. But the answer also isn't talent doesn't matter, because it does. Which leads us to another issue. Number 6. Because talent doesn't determine everything, you should never quit or give up. This is where, okay, I think the conversation gets a bit dangerous. Because once you say talent isn't everything, the next step often becomes, well, then just keep going. Just practice. Practice harder. Practice better. Just, take another course. Find another teacher. Don't give up. Just go ahead and push through. And sometimes this is really good advice, but sometimes you should quit. Now I know I'm making a video about drawing and I'm telling you that you may want to quit drawing. But I'm actually not trying to discourage people from drawing. I'm encouraging people to make the most of their lives. Because why are we so eager to keep people stuck in situations where they aren't excelling? And sometimes we're even willing to bend the truth to keep them there by saying things like, there is no such thing as talent, or you just have to try harder, you just have to practice better, anyone can do it. Maybe, or maybe you should try something else for a while. And I don't know where that line should be drawn. I don't think anyone does. That's the difficult part. You don't know whether you're about to have a breakthrough. You don't know whether your aptitude is going to reveal itself in another 500 hours. You don't know whether you're simply using the wrong method. But you also don't know whether you're spending years doing something that you're not practically good at, don't practically enjoy, and are actually the person that has no talent for it. But at some point, you get to choose. And I think that's important because we have to remember drawing isn't a moral obligation. You don't owe the world 10,000 hours. You don't have to become good at something simply because you started it. And you don't have to prove that you can overcome your limitations. If you try something and eventually decide, you know what, this isn't for me, that's okay. You don't have to say, I could have been great, but I just didn't have talent. You could simply say, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's enough. But I also don't want people to quit too early, because being bad now isn't enough evidence. That's the whole point of this video. You have to give yourself enough time to find out. And that's where I think the conversation gets really difficult, because you have to balance two truths. Don't quit simply because you're bad right now, but also don't stay forever because someone told you quitting means you didn't work hard enough. So, why does any of this matter? This is really what I care about, because this isn't ultimately a video about convincing you that talent exists. It's about what your belief about talent makes you do. If you believe
I'm sorry.
I'm not good now,
I'm sorry, guys.
I'll never
All
be
this
good,
sobering
quit too early.
content
If you
is
believe
not the
talent
best.
doesn't exist, therefore I just
It's
need
almost
to work
over.
harder, you might spend years banging your head against something that just isn't giving you much back. If you believe talent determines everything, you might never try in the first place. All three of these beliefs can screw you over. The actual answer is you don't know yet. You might have more potential than you realize, you might have less than you hope, or you might become very good through persistence, even without enormous natural advantages. You just don't know, and that's okay. I think about it this way. Given the normal bell curve distribution of human differences, you should at least probably start off assuming that you have a fairly normal level of talent. That's what the bell curve distribution tells us. And I think that's actually a hopeful thing, because you don't have to be a prodigy. You don't have to be Usain Bolt. You don't have to be the best person in the world or the best artist in the world. You know, it would still be pretty amazing if you made it to the Olympics, even if you came last in the slowest heat. You see, you don't have to win. You just have to see what you can do. And I think that's the freedom that gets lost in this talent conversation. You get to choose. If you like drawing and want to get better, draw. It's likely you will get better. Put in the work, learn, practice, see what happens. But if you eventually decide you don't enjoy it, you can leave. As artists, we don't have to pretend talent doesn't exist just so everyone feels better. Because in the end, telling the truth matters. And I think this is where I ultimately disagree with a lot of the other popular discussions around talent.
What do you mean? Can I
sometimes
use a blender?
We distort the truth because we think the truth will discourage people. We say talent doesn't matter because we're afraid that saying it does will make people quit. We say anyone can become anything because it sounds hopeful. And sometimes we say, I had zero talent, I just worked hard, because we want to make sure nobody thinks our accomplishments were just handed to us. But you don't have to distort the truth to encourage somebody. The truth is much more interesting. Talent exists. People differ. And those differences matter. But talent isn't destiny.
I mean, whoever rang once.
Practice matters. Opportunity matters.
So
motivation and environment, they matter. And yes, a bit of randomness matters too. And you don't know exactly where you're going to end up.
But I wish I didn't have a headache right now. My
Pay
neck's
attention.
really tight.
See what happens. Because I don't think the goal is to prove that anyone can be a great artist. The goal is to make the most of your life. And maybe drawing is a part of that. Maybe it isn't. But you don't have to hold people hostage to drawing. You're allowed to find the things that you find valuable, the things that you find fulfilling, and yes, the things that you might actually be naturally good at. If you enjoy hearing conversations like this, I invite you to like, subscribe to the video, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this.
What's up, guys? Is that too depressing? Are you good?
And I'll see you in the next video. I've been learning to draw for 5 years now. And during this process, I have learned that there are so many things that I misjudged about what it would be but like to learn how to draw. There are a lot of these expectations I had in my head about talent, about progress, motivation, what it even meant to be getting better and what that looks like. There were some things that I thought would matter a lot that it turns out didn't really matter much. And there were some things that I barely paid attention to that ended up shaping everything, including how I practice art now. In this video, I'm going to be looking at those 10 things and looking at how I misjudged them and how that led to my understanding.
It depends on the lighting.
To draw, and also probably adding in a bonus of after looking at all these things that I misjudged, what is my biggest takeaway from learning to draw and this whole journey? The first thing I misjudged was how much time I'd actually spend drawing. In the beginning, I had a lot of time, so I drew a lot. And for the past few years now, my situation has changed and I have very little time. But looking back on it, I actually still draw quite a bit, which is interesting because I have so little time to actually draw. The sketchbook that I'm flipping through, it began basically in April of last year, the ending of March into April, and there are a lot of drawings. And this really surprised me going through the years, as many times today, I am just drawing a few minutes before bed. That's the only time I can find. And yet, it's just the consistency over time that actually adds up to, hey, there's actually been a lot of drawing that I have been doing over the years. And I think that's one of the things that surprised me, just how much I'm still drawing, even when I have no time to do it. The next thing I misjudged is the issue and idea of natural talent. So a lot of people have commented off and on the videos saying that, there are some people that are just born different. And I'm in the beginning, I thought that this was a bad argument, and I'm somewhat on the fence. So this may there's definitely a contribution here. There are times when I notice just how my brain
I'm not
works.
gonna do that.
I forget skills that I know I have already fully learned, and I have to constantly be going back and relearning them
Unless I
and
did it
practicing
already.
them. And I look at how my brother learned the piano, and again, maybe this may just be a bias of looking at other people, but even today, it's like when he learns something, it seems to stick over the long term. And it just feels like sometimes my brain just tosses stuff, unless I am constantly engaging in it. Which brings me to the point that, yeah, our brains do function differently, slightly differently. But another thing I have also become very aware of is just how much people who are good practice and draw. This is stemming from the first point I made. I draw a lot. I can only imagine how much people who are professional artists or really good work that we admire. I'm just seeing how much they draw. I talk about Kim Jong-gi a lot, and it just continuously blows my mind just how much drawing this guy was doing. And so natural talent is one thing, but at the same time, just really realizing just how much work people are putting in that are good, who we admire and look at
Hear
their
that,
work.
guys?
So
If
there
you want to
seems
get good
to
at
be
drawing,
a balance here.
it's a lot.
Where I
There's a lot
may
of
have
drawing to do.
written off this point and misjudged it a long time and just go like, no, there's nothing here. There's still hard work, but I mean, there is also those people who can naturally pick up things, and sometimes I feel like I'm outside of that group, and I do also fully realize that there may be persons looking at my work going, dude, you are fully in that group of natural talent. So it's an interesting topic to talk about, an interesting thing to consider. And maybe the most interesting thing about it is that maybe we should just stop worrying about it and get to work. Number 3 thing that I misjudged was how fast progress would happen. This is for multiple reasons. One is that I really didn't know much about the creative process and how that worked. And also because of normally the way it's presented in terms of, hey, 30 days, you can do this, that. You have Mr. Beast who did his whole drawing thing over a year. And so there are several parts to this. If you are really focused on one thing, just one very specific type of drawing, what I have found is that you can make progress really fast. And I think
I'm
this
pretty
is the
sure
case
it's
for Mr.
PewDiePie,
Beast.
but
I don't think I was
listen.
too surprised.
Don't
with
actually.
what he
It's
was
actually
able to
revealing.
accomplish.
It's more
Because he was
embarrassing for you to
focused on a
correct
very,
him.
very specific
Is the way I see it.
Not even type of drawing, but a specific
It's more
subsection
correcting him
within
is
that type of
embarrassing.
drawing.
Let's just be clear.
It was very specific thing that he was trying to draw. And what I have found going through my classes or courses that I have done is that if you are focused in on just one very specific aspect of drawing, you can progress really quickly. When things really slow down, when you start delving into things like drawing from imagination, trying to build up that mental library of things that you could draw, things that you feel comfortable drawing, things that require perspective work, all this type of thing where you're not relying on reference, but you're actually trying to do creative work. that man, I just realized I just dug a hole for myself that will take a while to come out of. There's a lot of different creative work, okay? But I think you get the point of what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say some things aren't creative and other things are. But when you're working a lot from imagination, the progress that you make seems to slow down a lot more than especially when you're working on something very specific or when you're using reference. It really just depends. And so it's difficult then to turn around and try to gauge your progress to progress somebody else is making that may be doing something different or even appears to be similar to you. This just isn't a comparison that you can make with any validity. The next thing I have misjudged is how much I need to take feedback with a grain of salt. This is something that I have really learned over this process, especially if being on YouTube, online, on the internet. You have all type of people. You have trolls, you have people who are well-intentioned, people who give great, excellent advice. And then there are things that just come across wrong due to the issue of trying to communicate over text. You have misunderstandings. You can get the wrong idea of what people are trying to say. There is no context, there is no history. And so, people don't always know what you're trying to accomplish, things that you're struggling with. And a lot of people are giving well-intentioned advice.
Sorry, I don't mean to be meandering with my art right now.
And what you need to do is, or what I learned I needed to do, was not to take everything so personally. I think there were a few comments early on that really threw me.
One thing I want to start doing less of is this kind of this meandering drawing. I don't know, like
sometimes
there's nothing wrong with it for funsies, but I really need to start working on my ability to
that may not have communicated,
put some cohesive ideas together. So I should be doing something more like this.
I've learned across the board,
I'm just
you really just need to chill out a bit. Take things with a grain of salt.
More willing to
Number 5 is going to be something that people talk about quite a bit, and that's how linear improvement would be. Or in this case,
it's definitely one of the bigger weaknesses.
The fact that improvement isn't linear.
Am I going to yawn through this whole fucking statement? Jesus Christ.
Expected kind of this straight line. I would learn this concept, I would move on.
It's just definitely like, speaking of art weaknesses, one of them is just like, I mean, he kind of has it in spades here. He's stuck in forever fundamentalitis. He's just constantly just doing fundamentals drawings, and at some point,
learn this concept, I would move on.
I mean, if that's what he wants to do with his art, then I'm fine with that. But if he's drawing to do something with it, he needs to just start doing it, or he'll never be able to fucking do it. It's just unfortunately the reality. It's just like, if you want to learn to like draw a whole scene on your own without having, like, if you want to start learning to do something, you just have to do it, and you're going to suck shit at it. And that's just how it's going to be. You just got to eat dog dick. So I don't know that currently right now I'm in my storytelling. I got to start really focusing on storytelling.
Progress isn't a straight line. There are times
storyboarding, etc., and like
quick,
sticking
fast
to an idea
progress.
or concept.
There are other times you feel like you're
for the duration of the session.
Sometimes you feel like you're stuck. Again, this comes back to really what you're learning when you're learning it. I've found that there are some subjects that are meant to be beginner type subjects that were actually really hard for me, and I skipped over them. And now coming back to them later on, I'm actually able to uh, get a good grasp of those subjects, and it seems like I can draw them much easily now. Now that I am more advanced, when they were really expected to be beginner type fundamental stuff. So yeah, progress and improvement definitely isn't linear, and you may find that even some of the beginning things you really struggle with, where you can grasp more technical, more advanced subjects even easier. Number 6 is how often I felt frustrated. Now, in the beginning, I definitely did not think that I would be or have the feeling of frustration as much as I did through this process. And what I found is that really this seemed to show up a lot because I had a lot of expectations that just weren't realistic, and also then comparing myself to what I thought I should be able to achieve, what others were achieving. And man, these expectations and these comparisons just are really crushing. And if anyone is struggling with frustration, you can probably tell and agree that these are some of the main things, especially when you look at how much progress you thought you should have been making. Nowadays, I don't struggle with this as much because I've learned to put that aside. Most of the frustration I feel today is frustration that I walk into purposefully, knowing that I am going to do something that's challenging, something that's going to stretch my abilities and my limits just a bit. And so I find myself nowadays walking into frustration more with my eyes wide open, more than having frustration creep up on me and kind of tackle me from the back, kind of blindside me, right? And so, yeah, but still, frustration is something that you will constantly encounter during the process of learning to draw. Okay, now here is one that many people do not talk about. And this was, I really misjudged this. And it was how much time fundamentals take to learn, right? So initially, I thought that fundamentals were something you get through, like these are the basic things. And I kind of uh, alluded to this previously because a lot of people, and myself included, I had the misjudgment that, hey, something like learning to draw boxes, like you would just go and learn to draw boxes and then you would move on and start using them. Bro, boxes are hard to draw. And if you have an experience, I mean, if you know, right? But this is kind of hailed as some beginning entry level thing that, as a beginner, you get out the way, you get good at it, and you move on, you start using it. Boxes were really hard for me. There were some even more advanced things I did in Proco's figure drawing and anatomy class that people went wow and ooh, and yeah, they were really good pictures and stuff like that, a lot of rendering stuff and all these accuracy stuff that you have to do. But boxes, bro, boxes were really hard, even though they were supposed to be basic. They were harder for me than some of the more intermediate stuff that I was able to do seemingly almost right off the bat. And so, yeah, one thing I misjudged is that fundamentals, while you do them in the beginning, they are not basic, they are not necessarily easy, and they do not necessarily take a short time to learn. The next one that I will point out is my misjudgment about just how many bad drawings I would have to make. Again, from a recovering perfectionist standpoint, I had this idea that I would constantly be getting better and better and better. I did not expect to so often go to draw something slightly new, something a little bit more novel, and encounter such bad drawings. Again, my use of the phrase here, bad, is probably something that I have learned more and more to stay away from as well, in terms of adding this value judgment on top of drawings. There are just some drawings that are more challenging because you are learning something, you're pushing yourself outside of your
So
comfort zone. And you really, really need to be okay with going, that didn't turn out as well as I expected. What did I do wrong? Let me try it again. And being able to get past that. Because what I have found is that bad drawings are really the gateway to something better, something great, possibly. This one really stands out as well. I did not expect how emotional the process would be. Learning to draw does not just test your skill, it tests things like your patience, your expectations, your emotional stability overall. Hey, if you know, you know. Let me know in chat. But I really approached this early on as kind of a sterile, almost academic joint venture. I would do the courses, I would do the homework, I would get better. End of story. One of the things I really did not imagine was just how much emotions would be tied up in this. It's almost like you put your self-worth on the line, it seems, as you go through this process. And it pulls a lot of emotions out of you. One of them I am going to talk about in number 10. And number 10, one thing that I've learned is that loving art means loving the practice. There are some people who love the end result, and I've heard that there are such people that have survived. But for me, falling in love with the practice is really one of the things that surprised me more than anything else. Uh, Drawing for me and learning to draw has become one of the most interesting hobbies that I currently have. I almost want to say one of the most interesting hobbies that I will probably ever have. I don't know if that is true or not, but it has really kind of shaped my downtime and the things that I enjoy doing, and it's really been a place that I like going to whenever I feel tired, stressed. Hey, let's just draw something simple. Doesn't have to be difficult, it doesn't have to be challenging. You don't always have to push yourself. Sometimes you just need to chill out and draw a bit. And just thinking about this while recording, something else came to mind that I want you to know that you may also be misjudging in your process of learning to draw. And that is that I have found that whatever you're experiencing, you are not alone in the feelings and the emotions, in the experiences that you are having on this journey. The more I look at it, the more I read comments, I'm realizing that all of us are going through the same struggles. It does feel like it is unique to you, but it is not. Everyone who is at the top listening to art podcasts and professionals, they are saying the same things that I am experiencing as well. So know that you are not alone. So I'm still learning. I still make bad drawings. I still misjudge things. Maybe even later on, I will come back to this list and go, hey, some of those things were not quite worded correctly. But after 5 years, I know this much. Feeling stuck doesn't mean you're failing. And if you're learning to draw too, I would love to hear which of these surprised you, which of them resonated with you, and what experiences you have found in your journey that you misjudged early on, things that surprised you that I may not have mentioned. Or if you even think that I'm wrong about some of these things, let me know. What are you wrestling with? How has your journey been? And I'll see you in the next video. I think I may have had a mental breakthrough and discovered the answer to a question that has plagued me for quite some time. A question that maybe you no doubt have asked yourself many times while learning to draw.
I'm having a
Actually,
hard time not
there are
making fun
probably
of
two
how he's
questions that are
talking
kind of
right now.
intertwined. The first one being this: if drawing is a hobby, is it possible to love your drawing
I
even
definitely
if you're
heard it
bad
say
at it?
question.
I mean, think about this.
Quest.
Think about all
question.
the other hobbies.
Question.
There are many hobbies that
Said it
people
weird.
gladly and happily participate in, even though they are objectively bad at them. In addition to that, many of these hobbies physically hurt, like running and training for marathons, and most of these people are not good at it, and yet they still enjoy it. And for some reason, this seems to be something that's very difficult when it comes to learning to draw, or learning art for that matter. And so, why are we as artists hit with a wave of frustration and anger when we create an image that's less than optimal? The question is this: is it possible to love your drawing and to continue loving to draw even though you may be bad at it?
Yes, absolutely.
Why is this even a question in drawing? And why is it so difficult to just draw for fun? By the end of this video, I really believe that you're going to be in agreement with me that I probably have uncovered the answer to this question and the source of frustration that fuels it. Let's start by taking a look at the common answer to this question: social media. This is the immediate answer that most people turn to, and to be honest, this is something that I actually pointed at for quite some time and may have even done a video or two about it on this channel, pointing out the problem of YouTube and social media. But I now believe this is not the primary issue, so let's talk about that for a bit. Okay, first, let's admit that this does appear to be an obvious answer. When you look at YouTube, you see all these art channels promising that you'll become amazing in 30 days if you just follow these steps or avoid these beginner mistakes, or even worse, just use these 3 simple shapes. Really? But either way, I actually don't think this is the primary problem. Here's the thing. If you type in other hobbies like running, exercising, golfing, you'll see exactly the same thing. How to become good, how to be better at your swing, things of this nature. The truth is, every hobby you type into YouTube, you will start getting tips and pointers on how to get better, how to avoid beginner's mistakes, etc. So if YouTube is telling golfers and every other hobbyer how to get better, it's also telling the artists how to get better. It's also telling gamers how to get better at the games they're playing. Why does drawing feel so different as a hobby? Why are people not rage quitting running as a hobby? Or rage quitting playing games? Like, I'm never going to play games again. All right. So I think I've finally figured it out. Okay, now stick with me, because if you miss this part, you're not going to be able to put the puzzle pieces together. So first, I want you to imagine for just a minute that you're sitting on your couch watching the Summer Olympics. You could be watching the marathon, 100-meter dash, women's gymnastics, or maybe it's not even the Olympics. Maybe you're watching the CrossFit World Championships. Okay, so we're all imagining this. How many of you in your minds are going, you know what? In about 5 years, that could be me. Or even, I could probably train pretty hard and get that done in about 10 years. I would like to imagine that almost none of you are likely thinking this. This has never entered my mind while watching the Olympics. And it is because what these athletes are accomplishing looks out of reach. Out of reach in such a way that no amount of time is able to bridge the gap between where you are and where they are. But then, watch someone sketch a cube. It's deceptively simple. Suppose they step it up a notch and rotate it. I mean, sure, the cube is changing, but let's be honest, very unimpressive. That deceptively simple look is the first part of this trap, because in the back of my mind, I'm going, you know what? I think this skill deserves maybe several minutes at most. And I should be able to draw this cube and rotate it probably in about an hour. Or, if this is a particularly slow day for me, I'll give it a day and we'll have this all wrapped up. And remember, this is just the first part of the total story. We become to believe that we could be pretty good at drawing very quickly. Not initially because someone on YouTube promised us that, but because we just on the surface looked at it and it looks possible. And then we sit down and we try to draw a cube, just a cube, and you can't draw the simple cube properly. And you begin asking yourself, why is this so hard? And your first instinct is not to say that it must be because drawing a cube is hard, because obviously it looks simple. I mean, it's just a few lines. So obviously there has to be something wrong with you. And the frustration begins to set in. And I know this happens because it's a part of my own story, my own journey. When I started this channel, I had this idea in my head of not necessarily wanting to become a famous professional artist. I didn't have a plan to work for Marvel. I really just wanted to do this as a hobby. But I still honestly believe that, you know what? In a year or two, or maybe 3, I'm going to be so good at drawing. And coming in with that mindset, somewhere along the line, even without realizing it, every sketch I did, every practice exercise I completed, every lesson, every course that I took, slowly turned from a hobby into a performance review. It was an evaluation of my personal ability and my mental capacity. So, why do we feel so much frustration with the hobby of drawing versus other hobbies? It's something that is easily recognizable and almost uncontroversial. Drawing looks easy. It just does. Not that it is easy, but most of it, let's be honest, it looks easy, deceptively easy. And this is fundamentally different from other hobbies that people take up. Let's compare this to running. And of course, running is a totally different type of hobby, but also persons who go into running tend to go into it with totally different expectations. I mean, we know what good runners are. We've all run before, and we know that no one reaches top levels without enduring a lot of pain. We don't really expect to improve that much. And for most runners, they actually know they're slow. They know it, and they actually don't care. They still run. It's a hobby. They have fun. There's no pressure to become something that they realistically know they have almost no opportunity of becoming. Think of other hobbies, and you'll see exactly the same thing. Fishing, bowling. Have you ever seen people bowling? Laughing at their mistakes, laughing at how bad they are, throwing gutter balls, having no form, and yet they're totally happy. Our family has been bowling with other families. We're not even remotely good at bowling. And yet we still do it, and we have fun. As a matter of fact, we pay to do it, and still enjoy it. Okay, so I think we get the point here. Our expectations are totally off track when it comes to drawing. Yet, this is not the whole picture. As someone once said, but wait, there's more. Hit at this point, we log into YouTube and social media. And what do we see? Instead of seeing the truth, YouTube and YouTubers lead us into confirming the exact wrong ideas that we had in our heads to begin with. That drawing is simple. YouTube comes along and becomes an amplifier. Not necessarily the villain, but an amplifier. Because people are largely searching for things they already believe. And the one thing that YouTube is good at is matching people with what they already find interesting and what they already believe to be true. So you log into YouTube and you find out, oh, actually drawing is super simple. My problem was I just wasn't using the 3 simple shapes that I can use to draw anything. Or, wow, the problem is I just didn't have the correct exercises, or I just was not focusing on the correct fundamentals. And more than this, and honestly, this is something that is really disturbing. More than the tips and tricks videos on art YouTube is an avalanche of high-level artists swearing on their mother's grave that they don't have even 1% talent or advantage over anyone else. As a matter of fact, if there was an objective scale of art talent, they would be the worst. And yet, look at them. All of our beliefs and misconceptions about how easy drawing and art is, confirmed by the Olympic athletes of art. So you begin thinking, okay, then maybe if I take this course, my breakthrough is right around the corner. And you buy into it because deep down, you actually know that drawing looks really simple. So there must be a trick to this.
Are you guys depressed
So
again?
this makes perfect
Is this guy
sense
too
that I'm just
depressing?
missing this one exercise. And then I'll start seeing improvement.
I like to think
They
he's
reinforce
sobering.
what you already wanted to believe. This idea that maybe I'm just one trick away, maybe I'm just one course away, maybe just one fundamental short, except you're not. You're hundreds and thousands of hours away. And for some of us, the levels of drawing we are trying to achieve are literally out of reach, regardless of how hard we try. And actually, that's okay. And I know it's not what people always want to hear, but it is the truth. Drawing is hard, like really hard. And it isn't hard because you're bad. It isn't hard because you're missing the right course. It's hard because you're asking your brain to translate a three-dimensional world onto a flat sheet of paper. And it turns out that that's difficult, even if you're just drawing a cube, because everybody's brain and body is slightly different and excel at different things. And there are some people who are just freakishly good at math, and some that are built for speed, and yes, some that will just be better at visualizing things in their mind and putting it on paper. My God, why is this so hard for artists to admit? I think we've actually merged two completely different statements or questions. Can anyone learn to draw? Yes, I believe that, I really do. But the other question is often conflated with this. Can anyone become a good artist? To this question, my guess is probably not. And here's the thing. I know that there may be persons who disagree with me based on things I've seen on different channels, but it is just a strange thing to say somehow art is the one thing in the world that all of humanity are equally skilled at. All of humanity have exactly the same ability to become great at art. There is nothing else we say this of. The Olympics. Can anyone become a top sprinter? This almost goes without saying. It's almost rhetorical. Can anyone become an elite gymnast?
Damn, use
It is
the R
not
word.
controversial to say there are some people, for whatever reason, nature, nurture, that will have the disposition that will give them the ability to become a great gymnast or Olympic sprinter. But for some reason, we have bought into this idea that regardless of genetics or your unique brain wiring or personality, everyone could become a master artist. Okay, let's bring this home. The realization that I have had is not that I'm miserable and frustrated with my bad drawings because drawing is difficult. No, actually, I'm miserable and frustrated with my bad drawings because I expected it not to be difficult. And then everyone confirmed that. And so when I'm not able to live up to that, it becomes a personal failure, a disappointment. And once I stopped expecting drawing to be easy, it actually slowly started becoming fun. Of course, I'm still fighting all of that baggage that has come with years of me thinking that, I should be an amazing artist someday. The baggage that, it's just a cube and it really shouldn't take me so long to draw a simple cube. But the more and more I realize just how difficult drawing is, the easier and easier it's becoming for me to enjoy it, even if I'm not good at it. And so what it really comes down to is this. I don't think people need to pick the correct drawing course. There are plenty of them, all of them sharing almost exactly the same information. I think what people need more than another process or another tip is that people need permission. Permission to have drawing be a hobby that they're allowed to be below average at, a hobby where they're allowed to improve slowly, if at all, a hobby they never have to monetize, a hobby they never have to master, a hobby they can simply enjoy even if they're not good at it. If you have gotten this far in the conversation and think that this conversation is worth others hearing, consider liking and subscribing and leaving a comment to let me know what you think. This is the best way to get both the message out and support me on this channel. Thanks, and
What is up, everyone? So today I am super excited to bring you so many animal demonstrations that we are going to be running through from the Drawbox Lesson 5 course. I just completed Lesson 5, and like I said, there were so many animals that I drew and constructed from simple shapes, and I'm excited that not only I get to show you the final drawings from those exercises, but I also get to share with you the process that I went through. And as with all of the Drawbox lessons so far, one thing that I have consistently found is that in the beginning it is a little bit, scary. But as you go along, it gets easier and easier, and finally at the end you're enjoying it. I'm probably a little bit worn out, but also enjoying
What's your favorite show?
I'm going to be jumping in just to a few of the exercises. Prior to me starting the demonstrations that I got to record, because there were some that I got to prior to the recording, and even then I still have 30 demonstrations to show you that are time-lapse. So the first thing in Drawbox is getting used to the objects and thinking of them in not just 2D objects that you're putting on a page, but trying to convince yourself that they are actually 3D objects. And so our first exercise were these sausage shapes lumped onto each other and trying to be convincing that they were actually 3D, right? So this first one turned out pretty good, really liked it. Second one was not as good as I wanted it to be, but still turned out okay, so pretty happy with those. And then we jumped into
that guy's wolf looks really bad.
So all of the demonstrations that I will be going
That's
through
funny.
here were actually pre-done by the person leading out the Drawbox course, and I was following along with his demonstrations. And again, I really think that this is so important for improvement. The thing that you will see over and over
I'm
again
gonna judge this guy's drawing
from simple shapes is that there will be an abdomen, a head, and a pelvic bone that will then be sausaged together in some way, and you begin adding on additional shapes for all of the limbs that you have, and adding a tail, appropriate ears, and so forth. So you will see a lot of that consistency, and so the practice of going through these initial drawings kind of set me up for the work that I would be doing when I jump off on my own, doing my own constructions. This was a tiger head here that I really liked.
Oh my god, that tiger's so sad.
He included some of the tiger marks.
Hey everybody, let's laugh at this guy's
we're going
drawings.
how you do the animal constructions, but also the animal heads, which are pretty important. Here we have a weasel, which turned out pretty good. One of the interesting things, and why I am especially excited about sharing the time-lapse videos with you, because a lot of the times you see these final drawings and they look super cool. Well, at least, all right. I think some of them are super cool. You will see some weird ones in here when things kind of went off.
I hate that my neck gets all crunchy sometimes, and I gotta
it
move it
doesn't
around.
look that way when you're going through it, right? It doesn't.
You want
always
to hear what
look
it
that
sounds
way.
like?
So,
It's like the thing that holds up. This is why my voice sounds like shit, because my fucking trachea is always collapsed.
so I'm excited that
That's
I
the
will
reason
get to share
I sound like a nerd.
some of the
Not because
parts
I'm an
that
actual
are not
nerd.
so pretty before you start adding on the line weight. And so you get into the idea that you don't have to be overly careful with your construction lines. As you notice here, my ovals that I'm putting down, there are like multiple lines, so they're not completely all perfect. But in the end, once you put down the line weight, it really comes together, even with the oddities, right? Even with the oddities. So here was a rat running. This one, not so good, and I think we're gonna collide into a few here that turned out a little bit more interesting. I mean, look at this.
Oh my god.
Don't worry, it gets better.
This is pretty good. I love shit drawings, guys. I don't know.
Please stick with me. So in a short moment here, we'll be jumping into the time-lapse demonstration. But there's,
I mean,
again,
I
we're
could
showing you
probably
that
not
it's
draw a
process,
horse
right?
that
It's a
well.
process. Some of them will turn out well.
I
Some
haven't
not so
drawn
well.
it one
And
in
one
so
of the
long.
things that they pointed out is that a lot of times we get caught up in putting down these construction lines. We feel afraid that it will overpower the drawing. And in some cases, it's pretty tough. Had to put down a lot of line weight to make the actual bear stand out from those construction lines. But in the end, it's okay. These are exercises and you progress.
Oh my god, what a
turned out to
sexy
be a little
polar
bit of a
bear.
cartoon of a bear. You may like it. It's cute. I don't know. But definitely not exactly how it should have turned out in the long run. Here is one. I really liked how this one turned out, especially the horns. When I got this one down, it just confirmed me. I really need to get the demonstrations recorded so that I can show you all, because again, looking at these final products doesn't tell the entire story of how it looked going through the process here. So we're gonna be diving into those together. What is going on here? Oh my goodness.
Is that a pig or a bear?
All right, so one of the things I struggled with in these demonstrations throughout these drawings with the heavy fine liner pen that we're using for the course is fur texture. So this was a demonstration as well, and I kind of copied the patterns that I was seeing being used the best I could. One thing, it is easy to do that when you're looking at a picture that you're kind of copying the design from. It is a different thing when you're trying to apply it to an animal. And at this point here with this raccoon is where I finally got the first demonstration recorded. We have 30 animal demonstrations, constructions from the ground up to go through time lapse. And so we're gonna jump right into that and begin talking about this. All right, so now we are jumping in. These first 3 drawings are still ones that were demonstrated out for me, beginning with this raccoon. And so in my mind, these were a little bit easier, again, because
Should I do a demo based on his
steps
demo?
were laid out. Yes, there were animals that you could look at as well to see how they were pulling their constructions from the actual
inky.
animal. But again, it was still simpler because, of course, they showed you do this first, put the circles here, draw this line, add this line weight. And so I do think that these ones turned out pretty okay. This, I don't even know.
Oh my
how
god, what the fuck's going on?
Oxen type
Damn,
gazelle
bro.
animal. It turned out okay, but it did look a little bit weird, a little long in the legs, but it was still turning out pretty good. You see me putting down those hatch lines to push the back legs back, and yeah, not too bad. This one here was an elephant. I was really excited to do this elephant actually because it looked pretty cool on the image. It had quite a few steps.
I actually don't know what the proportions were. I was guessing them, but this looks really wrong.
Bulk to that elephant.
I'm pretty sure
to get
horse
it
is
all
mostly
up to
rib
scratch,
cage.
But when it really comes alive,
It's got
is
a
in
cute
this
little
last
ass.
stage where you're putting on the line weight and really making sure that you have your design set like you wanted to. And you would be surprised how in the end it all comes together. Alright, now we're jumping into my specific assignments where I only have the reference of the actual animal in front of me. At this point, I was super nervous, as I normally am when I am starting the lesson, starting the assignments where I have to go on my own. But as you see it, as you go along, it turns out okay. They start off with birds, which are a little bit easier, and as you go through the course, you would be surprised how all the work you've been putting in adds up and pays off, right? So at some point, you just have to trust the system, trust that the course is set up with you in mind, right? With you in mind as a beginner to take you from where you are to where you need to be. Just focus, settle down, and do what you need to do. Take your time, get it done, right? I really enjoyed this page as well. That duck on the left was actually really fun to draw. I really like how it turned out. And what I really tried to do in this is to really get a variety of different postures, poses for all of the different animals, just to keep me interested. And here we're jumping into the horses and their, I think this section has one of my favorite pages from this entire set of demonstrations that you'll be seeing in this video. Not this page, but I will let you know when it comes up, but you will see it. All right, so we're into horses, trying to find quite a few poses. As I talked about, you will see the common start. You have the head, the abdomen, the pelvic, and then you start adding on the additional shapes as you go along. One of the main things that I found that really sets the animals apart, especially between horses and deers and animals that look similar, is really the shape of their mouth parts, right? That between the shape of their mouth and their ears really tend to begin to set them apart from the other animals. But drawing the horses and deers, it was pretty enjoyable for me. This page was really cool. All right, so we go on now to a few deer, and you will see, again, you'll see this over and over again, that construction is, after a while, it kind of starts getting drilled into you, and it goes well. The other thing that you will notice as we progress through all of these demonstrations is the fact that as I progress on, I don't know if this is just a me thing, but as I progress on and I've seen this in a lot of the other Drawbox lessons that I've completed so far as well. I tend to take longer as I go along, and it's really due to adding in more detail, trying to make sure that I'm keeping the quality up. What really happens is that I do some drawings and I go, wow, I really like how those turned out. And then a little bit of, I guess, fear kind of kicks in. Trying to make sure that I keep up the standard of what I have done previously. So yeah, you'll see a little bit more detail, a little bit more texture coming in, which is something that the Drawbox course itself also recommends. That you don't start off with a whole lot of texture on your animals during the first ones, and then as you progress through the assignments, they allow you to add more texture as you go along, now that you have a better understanding of the basics. This page here is one of my favorites. I just love how the face of this deer turned out on the left. I think it's just super cool. And then this was the one from the intro, and I really like how it turned out. I thought I would start out with it. There are some drawings later on with a lot more detail that are also pretty cool, but something about the simplicity of these ones and just how the shapes look, I really enjoyed. Okay, so we're back to another page of horses here, again trying to jump into a few other poses. As you will see here, we have one where it's supposed to be kind of like a trot, and then the other one will be an image of a horse jumping at likely an equestrian show. There you see me. You see me covering up the hatching that I put down under the neck of the horse there, and a part of this as well is me experimenting, which is a tricky thing to say and do when you have a 0.5 fine liner dropping ink on the page. It's a little bit daunting to experiment, but what happens is after you have gotten through quite a few of them and you start to realize that it's going to be okay, you can do more experimenting. All right, so now we're going on to cats and dogs. I must say this is where I encountered my challenge with fur. So these first two images with cats,
I'm kind of meandering right now. I need to refocus what I'm doing. Give me a second, guys.
Okay. Just the fur on them was really challenging, but again, I still like them. I mean they look like cats. They do look like cats. And here's going to be another page of cats. You see a little bit more dynamism in the poses. After the first few animals that I did from just side views, I really tried to, for the most part, stay away from just the straight side poses, because as I pointed out with most of the animals just starting out with the head, torso, and pelvic bone, if you draw everything from the side, it gets really repetitive. And one of the things I know from Drawbox, I have to find a way to keep myself interested, right? You have to do it if you're going through this course. You have to find a way to keep yourself interested. And the way I did it was trying to challenge myself with different poses. And I must say, This was also another page that I just really liked how the animals turned out, both of them on the page. Starting to get the fur under control just a bit.
I might have to go to the washroom for a second.
Maybe I took these ones to the groomers, but pretty excited about that page. And I think now we're going to be off to a few dogs here. And this was interesting, trying to capture the characteristics that really set cats and dogs apart. Again, I think it comes down a lot to the mouth structure, the airs. Drew a few puppies here that I put over the eyelids.
Damn, that puppy looks angry.
Puppies are cute. I don't need any though, but yes, puppies.
I'm doing all right. Just a little crusty this morning.
And trying to capture some of that cuteness in the pose, and yet keeping it rather simple. As you can see, hardly any texture on these animals. This one, I really tried to go out of the box. Draw box. I really tried to go out of the box on this one to try and capture this really dynamic pose here from this dog. This one was interesting for me because the reference itself was pretty long through the abdomen section, and so it is long here as well, but I think it turned out okay in the end. Pretty cool. Okay, so this was a portrait of a dog. Again, me just trying to vary the different images that I was drawing. Decided to do some close-up heads as well. I think this portrait of this dog came out pretty cool as well. And it's really interesting what you can do with just using these simple shapes and construction and then adding on the line weight. And it really comes together in the end. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. One of the things that they taught us is not to get over obsessed with accuracy while doing these, because again, you are using these simple shapes which do not match the contours of what you're actually seeing in front of you, but it also helps to simplify and capture the essence of what's going on. I feel as if I'm a professional here, but also it makes it easy to repeat. So you're basically trying to keep in mind what happened before, and it makes it easier if you need to draw it from imagination. Speaking of drawing from imagination, I've been doing some of that. So you will see that in likely the next video. There are some laughers in that one, to be sure. So stay tuned for that one. By the way, if you're watching me through these demos, let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. There were quite a few that I enjoyed. And jumping into this section here is a few misfit creatures that we were allowed to do. As you can see now, the texture really ramping up as I come down to the end of the assignments. And coming on to this strange creature here, so when I watched this back and I noticed how much the page was flipping for me to get those straight lines in the bones for the bat, let me just apologize for that. But there was nothing I could do there. You have to turn the page to be able to throw those straighter lines out. And yeah, so this bat, putting the texture on here, it's not the exact texture from the bat in the reference, but still, after I was done, I thought it was a pretty cool bat. By the way, at the end of this, we had to do 2 hybrid animals. So you will see my attempt at basically a lizard dog, right? and a bat elephant. Whoa, no, I said that wrong. A bat horse, right? Everybody has to do at least one kind of stereotype, in my case, the winged horse. But use the bat wings instead of the regular bird wings. So there you go. But we do have a reptile dog as well in there. So as you can see now, the texture is really going overboard. Basically, me experimenting with a ton of different stuff. At this point, basically had the idea of how to do these constructions and was really just kind of pushing the boundaries, having some fun, trying to keep it interesting for myself, because at this point, you know, it was already just so many animals. I really liked how this lizard that I'm currently drawing turned out. It was super cool for me.
And designed for my chat or your chat?
I didn't know I would like to draw a lizard that much. And here we go into the hybrids, okay?
Like a UI design?
So brace yourself for the weirdness that will ensue here as we jump into our reptile dog here. So as you can see, it's basically the head and somewhat torso from the lizard that I did, along with the tail, but the other body structures and limbs are basically from the dog. And if I had thought about it, I'd probably put the reptile feet on it as well, which would have probably made it pretty cool. Alright, so jumping into this one, which was the bat-winged horse. I liked how this turned out. I did look at a reference of a horse for constructing the bottom portion, and also, of course, had a reference of how the wings would be for constructing the wings of the horse. You'll see on that right wing, I actually messed up and put the bottom sections of the wing in where they were not supposed to be. We're using ink, there's no erasing, just continue.
That wing horse looks creepy.
As usual. So everyone, if you've stuck with me thus far, thank you so much. Let me know which one of these constructions was your favorite, and if you want to support me and give me some inspiration to continue on in my drawing process, please feel free to like, subscribe if you would like to follow me on my journey to see how far I can take this drawing challenge that I've given myself, a new hobby that I picked up. I really want to see how far I can push this and how good I can get. And if you want to follow me on that journey, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I will see you next time. Thanks, bye.
What is up, everyone? My name is Vincent, and as a part of my journey today, I am excited to let you know that I have completed Drawbox's 250 cylinder challenge. Wow, that's just crazy. However, having completed this challenge made me ask myself a very important question, one that you have probably even asked yourself as well on your art journey, and it is this: why? Alright? No, seriously, why? Why am I spending all this time drawing cylinders? Have you ever thought about that?
It's silly. It's cylindery. I got nothing.
Draws perfect cylinders? But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. First of all, what is the 250 cylinder challenge? Well, it's quite simple. There are 2 variations of cylinders that you need to draw to complete this challenge. the first 150 cylinders, you simply align ellipses around a minor axis, ensuring that the ellipse that is further away from you is slightly wider than the other ellipse that is closer to you. Once you are done with those, you now complete 100 cylinders in boxes. Of course, you would first need to draw the box before adding the ellipses to create the cylinder. So, after drawing 250 cylinders, the goal should be to be perfect at drawing cylinders, right? Well, I don't think so. I don't think that is the goal, but I do think that you should see some improvement in your cylinder drawing. Here is a page of where I started out, and in the end, I do think that I had a better understanding of drawing cylinders by this final page. And if I must say, I'm actually really excited with how that last page turned out, especially considering the fact that those lines and ellipses are all drawn freehand. I know, how do these lines get so straight and seemingly accurate? Well, it's basically following the instructions and practice that DrawBox recommends for putting down confident lines. You first plan out the points where you want the lines to go, and after a few ghosting practice moves, you commit. It's all in, and whatever happens, you live with it. Which is not a bad rule for life in general either, when I really think about it. But back to the main point and question of this video. You see, it took 3 months for me to complete this entire challenge. Was it worth it?
No.
My honest answer? I don't know. Maybe I could have spent my time better doing some other exercise that would produce better and faster results from my drawing. I don't know, but here's the deal. We all know that repetition is really important for improving at most likely anything in life. And so much so that right now, I'm actually doing another challenge that I am almost done with. It is 100 portrait sketches, each being 10 minutes long, to see how much I improve and then to share what I have learned with you all. I'm almost done with that challenge, and so that will be the next video that I post on this channel. So if you want to see the results of that experiment that I'm doing, I invite you to subscribe so you don't miss that video. But the question still remains. If I don't know how much this actually helped me in terms of improving my ability to draw, why would I spend so much time completing it? Well, because I'm doing a course. And the point is, how am I going to know if the course works if I don't follow the instructions? In the end, what it really boils down to is this one thing. You see, there are so many plans and guides out there for so many things in life if you want to improve. And there are so many people that start following the guides and they try it off and on for a few days, and then they quit and they claim that it didn't work and that they tried it. No, you didn't. You didn't try it. You didn't follow the instructions. If you want to get better at something, it is just like drawing those straight lines. you have to set a plan, and then once the plan is set, you have to commit to it.
Squid Belly's
You have to
back.
see it through. Only then can you be in the position to give it a real review. And of course, I will be giving a review of the Drawbox course as I complete it. Only 2 lessons left to go. But once again, thanks for sticking through this video if you have, and looking forward to see you in the next video when I review my experiment of 100 10-minute portrait sketches. See you then.
Oops, all boxes. Oops, all boxes. I'm tired of this guy. He's a fucking scammer.
So definitely useful to try this, and you can just screenshot any angle you like, copy it into your application. You can see here I'm drawing some blue lines to see where things will go. As you can see, the ear is below the eyes, and you can see how the proportions change at this angle. So see, I'm drawing those in with the red lines to mark that out. This is a great way to practice what happens when the head is tilting at different angles. So really fantastic resource to use. I recommend really playing around with this, and look, especially for angles that you're really not comfortable with, to try this out. So another thing you can do is, again, digital is our friend. There's so many uses of digital that can help us in training and improving. This is fantastic, and I think highly underrated the amount of useful things we can do. So what we can do is trace over the
Where do you get that 3D model?
We have pulled up a model here that you can use to rotate at different angles and really analyze where things modelize. Definitely copy, go, take a copy of it, and really understand what's happening. Similar to when we're doing gesture and shape. Okay, this is very important. So doing this in volume, getting confident in drawing this is going to help us. Okay, and I also recommend obviously doing more detailed studies of this as well. Really balancing out the two, getting comfortable with the shape and getting comfortable with the landmarks. Where do things fall? Where does the ear go? See, the nose is very close to the eye at this angle, as we mentioned before. Okay, look how the neck changes at this angle as well. See, it appears quite long from this angle. Okay, so lots of things to practice with this. Again, make sure to do it in volume. Really get confident drawing it, not from observation only, but from imagination as well. And if you can draw it well from imagination, that's going to be an amazing tool to have in your arsenal. Okay, so please try this, and there'll be a lot of benefits from doing it. So let's look at how one of the masters does this. Kim Jung-gi, one of the best artists of all time, definitely one of the best of our generation. So if you look at this drawing here, and this will cover a lot of what we covered earlier. You can see how he does it. So you see, instead of doing the flat side profile on the left, I'm showing you on the right how he's added these beautiful curves. Puts the camera below, so it's about where the shoulder is.
Fucking.
And we can see the effect that has. It makes this drawing so much more dynamic. Just a simple line drawing adds so much confidence and dynamism to the drawing. Okay, here's another example, much more subtle on this one. Again, the camera is lower, and you can see that by the lower, sort of larger gap from the mouth to the chin, okay, and the higher ear and nose. But again, beautiful and so beautifully done with such subtlety, which is why I just love this. I think it's amazing. Here's another example of using a combination. So taking the side view, he's put the camera slightly below as the head's looking from above, and he just twisted the head slightly to, you can see the eyelashes coming out the end. So adding another combination there to make it visually interesting. And here's another example looking from above. You can see same, we can look at the curves coming around in that view. You can see how this adds a little bit of mystery to the character. Again, it's great for storytelling. And as you can see, instead of doing just a normal 3/4 view, you can tilt the camera, tilt the head, and you get beautiful effect. Here's some more examples of the side view ones. I think are really great examples and great to practice from. You can see the curves, how they change. There's nothing flat in these drawings, and adding that little bit of perspective makes a huge difference as well. I think it's always a good idea to simplify things that we've done in this video and then see where you can take it from there. And I hope this inspires you with some ideas how to make your characters more interesting, just by adding subtle shifts in perspective and ways to practice as well to get better at it. There's always so many things we can do to improve our artwork, improve our abilities, and drawing perspective gives us so many avenues to practice all of these aspects. So make sure you come back to this video and check it out when you're struggling. I hope
The video is too short. Guess I'm just gonna watch Barnaby Jones forever. Alright.
Barnaby Jones, starring Buddy Ebsen, also starring Lee Merriweather, with guest stars Wayne Rogers, Dan Travati, special guest star Stephanie Powers. Tonight's episode, Echo of a Murder.
How long you expect me to sit out here while you keep fiddling around with that dumb engine? Nothing ever works around here except me.
Well, Claire, the engine just stalled. I'll have it
And you
fixed.
know how I hate to sit in the sun. You know how bad it is for my skin. Well, if you think I'm gonna put up with this, you got another thing coming. The wife of a man who owns himself a lodge, well, she don't expect herself to be down on her hands and knees scrubbing no floor.
Never asked you to scrub floors. It's not demeaning to be a hostess while meals
It's
are being served.
this is Columbo for people who think Columbo's too well adjusted.
Voice of hers. How it grates on my nerves. I don't care what you deny. Not a day goes by you don't go snooping around that redhead. You and your fancy lodge. Ain't nothing but a hole in the wilderness. Ain't nothing to do out here. Ain't nobody out here but a bunch of old ladies and senile old men. As a matter of fact, I think I'll just take me the next bus out of here, and I don't need no invitation from you.
Looks like some late mail came in for you, Miss.
Stop that. Don't do it. They go right over me.
What you doing, huh? What the devil's he doing to her?
Don't do that. Go. My gracious. See her.
Oh, crazy! That's all I know, Sheriff. The owner of the lodge, killing his wife out on the lake. Of course I saw it. It's plain murder.
Son? It's been a long time.
Mr. Jones, thanks for coming up. I hope you don't think I was taking advantage just because I knew your son.
I'm always glad to hear from Hal's old friends.
He didn't do it, Mr. Jones. Gil, Mr. Atkins, it just didn't happen the way people are saying.
Has he been charged yet?
Last night, right after I phoned you, they're calling it a suspicion of murder.
Well, let's start out by your telling me everything exactly as you saw it.
Lon, excuse me.
Good.
Lon, I hate to disturb you with all this excitement going on, but my TV isn't working. Do you think you could fix it?
Yeah, I'll have it taken care of right away. It's those new jacks they put in.
Well, whenever you get the chance.
What did you see, Lon?
Trouble is, I don't know exactly what I saw. I know they were arguing out on the lake, and then Gil's wife screamed, and everybody's saying Gil hit her with the oar, but it couldn't happen like that. I know Gil.
Has he made a statement to the sheriff?
Gil swears he was just trying to keep her from falling out of the boat. And the oar, he was just trying to reach her with it, not hit her. Gil doesn't swim. Neither did Claire. That's Miss Renford. She's a guest. Would you like me to point out where it happened?
You got me on the spiteful contrarian part, though.
They were just to the right of where the sheriff's boat is now.
About 100 yards from here.
Yeah, and at that distance, you can't see everything. That's what I told Mr. Wright.
We all like Mr. Atkins too, Lon, but that wife of his was a... Well,
For a woman sleeping and drinking the day away, snappish even at a good morning. Our sympathies are with Mr. Atkins, but to a point, that is.
don't misunderstand us, Lon, but anybody who carried on the way Mrs. Atkins did, especially yesterday morning.
Claire went up and barged right into Miss Renford's cabin. You could hear Claire's voice all over the lake.
What were they arguing about?
Claire thought Gil was paying too much attention to Miss Renford, but Gil's always looking after the comfort of every guest.
I take it you folks are all going to be appearing as witnesses against Mr. Atkins?
Yes. With all due respect to Lon's friendship for Mr. Atkins, the whole thing took place right in front of our very eyes. Seeing is believing.
You know, ma'am, I wasn't too old when my grandfather took me to see a young fellow named Harry Houdini, who was appearing in our town.
Damn, this guy's fucking
At an early
old.
age, I learned two things. One, you can't eat a hot dog and cotton candy at the same time. And two, believing everything you see is nearly as bad as having to see everything you believe. like that these days?
Yeah, and I don't know where it's going to end. You talked to Lon?
Mr. Atkins, have you hired yourself a new lawyer?
A fellow named Fred Baumiller. He's a local attorney, but I'm sure he's all I'll need.
Yeah, it's what if Matlock for even older fucking people is correct.
The age where I wouldn't trust their eyesight or their judgment.
I doubt if a friend, an employee, would outweigh him.
This is for the parents of boomers.
Couldn't have seen me kill my wife. Mr. Jones, I jumped in the water and I don't swim. I held onto the side of the boat. I reached out my arm to her. I called her name. Those witnesses, they'll have to tell you that. They'll have to tell you that they heard me call her name.
Playing the devil's advocate. You could have been just a man who suddenly came to his senses and realized that he had killed somebody in front of a bunch of people.
Yes, I suppose it could be taken that way, but it wasn't. None of what they thought they saw happened.
What really happened?
She stood up in the boat. She'd been drinking that morning, and I was afraid she was going to fall over the side. Just that.
The guests are saying you pushed her out of the boat.
She pushed away from me. Mr. Jones, what possible motive could I have for killing Claire?
Mr. Atkins, if I'm going to be working for you, I've got to have complete honesty. Now, don't tell me that there is no possible motive when you and your wife were constantly quarreling. And what about that attractive red-headed guest, Miss Renford?
All right. I'll admit, I probably was paying too much attention to Sharon Renford. And it's true. Claire and I did constantly fight. Mr. Jones, I probably made one of the biggest mistakes of my life when I married her. But do I look like the kind of a man who would lose his temper to the point that I would take an oar and brain my wife in full view of all of those people?
What were you doing out in the boat?
I was trying to show Claire where I thought we should put some small cabins along the shore, trying to convince her that it would pay off. The outboard had just stalled on me.
What about the oar?
Have you ever tried to take the end of a heavy oar and pass it to someone in the water? You hold it out, and it falls in. I swung that oar over my head in hopes that it would fall within her reach.
And the oar didn't hit her?
It fell short by at least a foot.
Lon says you didn't know your wife very long before you married her.
9 weeks to be exact. I used to go up to Vegas a lot to try to relax, forget about the lodge business. We met up there, and one thing led to another, and Mr. Jones, I didn't know I was marrying an alcoholic. You wouldn't believe the change in that girl.
Well, it looks to me like your case depends on finding a couple of favorable witnesses. I'll inquire around. People have had a chance to sleep on what they saw.
Then you'll take the case?
From what I know up to this point, it would take a man with an uncontrollable temper to do what they say they saw you do. Not to mention a very stupid one, and that doesn't describe you. Well, times change. For the better.
Alright, I'm gonna wrap up soon. I gotta do some work and shit.
50%, that's a pretty low rate of recovery.
Yeah, well, in my experience, we've had about, a dozen drownings, recovered just about half of them. It's the currents. And over in the center of the lake, the bottom slopes down to subterranean levels. Scuba diver almost got swept under a ledge down there one time. We gave up using divers.
I can see why this lodge isn't all that popular.
Yeah, fewer people come up here each year. I know Mr. Atkins bought it cheap, but folks don't figure him to turn it around.
The bodies
day, some of them show up over in Funeral Creek. Folks took to calling it that. It's a neck of water horseshoes itself around back of those trees.
Right about here is where she went down, isn't it?
Yeah, we should be just about over it.
The cottage over there, does that belong to the lodge?
Large property runs about a quarter mile past it.
A cedar waxwing.
Well, I'm very flattered.
That's a very good likeness. I'm Barnaby Jones. We almost met over some postcards this morning in the lobby.
I did think you'd come to visit me a little sooner, Mr. Jones.
I wanted to talk to the guests who had made depositions first. See whether they're still as positive after a night's sleep.
And were they?
I'm afraid so. I see you're an ornithologist, Miss Renford.
Oh, no, just a casual interest in birds.
I'm a sort of an amateur one, by accident, to outwit Miss Wilhelm.
Miss Wilhelm?
My 7th grade teacher. She was an absolute bird nut. I used to collect demerits like you just couldn't imagine, so I tried to get on the good side of her. I signed up for bird studies in my hobby class.
How very clever of you.
Well, to make a long story short, I had to help her catalog the entire library file of birds from Aberdivine to zebra finch.
Mr. Jones, I don't think when you decided to come and visit me, you wanted to discuss birds.
Well, let's just say that I was curious about where you were at the time of the boating mishap.
I was right here. I was photographing a flock of wild geese that were flying over at the time. I wasn't aware there was anything going on in the cove until I heard Mr. Atkins calling for Claire. And then I saw him clinging to the side of the boat.
Hey, that is a beautiful piece of equipment. You mind if I look at it?
Oh, go right ahead.
Telescopic lens. Very handy. So you caught some wild geese flying over, huh?
Yes, I hope they're in focus.
Why didn't you hear Clara when she screamed for help?
What?
You said that you heard Gil Adkins calling her name. There'd been quite an argument before that, loud enough to be heard all the way over to the lodge. You're 50 yards away from where the boat was. Seemed to me that your attention would have been attracted to the boat from the very beginning.
I heard voices naturally, but I didn't pay them any attention.
It's funny,
All right.
I took you for a person who had a very curious nature.
I was busy photographing the geese.
Yeah, no one's ever solved a crime before Barnaby Jones did. I think the show started at the end of the 60s. To be fair, the first episode of
She was a worthless tramp. Drunken.
Columbo is also, I think, from the 60s.
Do you think I'd give one iota of evidence against Gil? Whatever happened, she drove him to it.
You saw it all, didn't you, Miss Renford?
You're not going to drag anything out of me in court. Gil deserves all the help he can get.
You're under a misconception, Miss Renford. I'm a private investigator employed to help Gil Adkins.
Oh. Well, I'm not even sure what I saw. I'm not even sure it was in focus.
You triggered the camera.
Yes, I wanted to get a shot of that tramp taking a pratfall.
filmed the whole thing?
I'm positive it was all an accident. But I'm not adding to any evidence against Gil by giving anyone that film.
You're positive it was an accident. Gil Adkins is swearing it was an accident. Doesn't it occur to you, Miss Renford, that something you have on this film might prove it was an accident?
He couldn't have killed her knowing all those people were watching. It just doesn't make any sense.
Now there, Miss Renford, I couldn't agree with you more. Not making sense.
Do you think I'd testify to something I didn't see?
Mrs. Handley, your testimony is not being disputed. It's simply that your answer sounded like conjecture.
Nothing conjecture. I
All right.
exactly what I saw with my own two eyes, is there?
No, he was a baby in that episode. That first episode, he looked like he was in his fucking 30s.
I'll rephrase, Mrs. Handley. Is there any question in your mind that the distance to the boat and the fading light distorted what you were seeing?
Frankly, I wish there were some question. It isn't easy to be accusing someone of murder.
Madam, we are not accusing here. We are examining the circumstances surrounding the death of one Claire Atkins without prejudice. This is a hearing, nothing more.
Thank you, Mrs. Handley. Mr. Lon Stevens.
It only looked that way.
All we wish is a direct reply. Did you see Mrs. Claire Atkins being pushed or hurled from the boat?
It looked that way. It wasn't.
Mr. Stevens, either you saw such an act or you didn't.
I couldn't have, and nobody else could have. It only looked that way.
Did you see that oar strike Mrs. Atkins over the head?
Now listen.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens.
They sure shut him up in a hurry.
He's not telling him anything, except he's your friend.
I'd like to call on Mr. Benjamin Wright.
There's no doubt in my mind she was thrown from the boat. And the oar was picked up and swung in her head.
Did you see that oar strike her head?
Yes.
Did you see Mrs. Atkins then disappear beneath the water?
I did.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Now, Your Honor, I'd like to call Mrs. Ryan.
I got it.
Your Honor, before any more witnesses are called, I'd like to call to the stand Mr. Barnaby Jones, who wishes to place into evidence some movie film.
What kind of film?
Pictures of the boating mishap, Your Honor, filmed in its entirety.
Why, how
You know
could
they
that
would
be?
do that?
Well, they couldn't possibly have taken a film.
It's gonna be the wrong. It's gonna be a plan. They pre-recorded this.
The oar didn't touch her.
This is Your Honor. So these two people are in cahoots, and they pre-planned, they pre-recorded this.
looking at a damn pool. Oh, don't worry about it.
Sorry,
That's
really.
all right, Mrs. Ryan.
You've made a lot of people very happy, Barnaby. Congratulations.
I think congratulations might be due Mr. Atkins. Right over there. Maybe the cleverest man I ever met.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Ryan. Thank you. Don't think a thing about it. No, you were very nice about it. I don't think I'll ever.
He got head. They got him. Barnaby's not happy. What? The pupil's a polygon. Did you know that?
I haven't taken a deep breath in months.
Hey, you know,
What?
I like Claire's lips a lot better.
Oh, you do?
I'm currently just trying to recollect some eyes that I studied before, so I'm just doing some recollections.
Well, if you ain't the most low-down husband I ever did see, treating a woman like a piece of dirt, ain't that the truth?
Got away clean. Nobody hurt. And $250,000 on its way.
They tricked Barnaby. He's not happy now.
$250,000. That's a figure. I don't believe it.
I went over this in detail with Steve Kelton of Solar Insurance, and that's what you got coming.
Well, I remember an item in the escrow papers about the lodge insurance remaining in effect, but I never gave much thought to the policy being anything more than the usual fire and theft and sufficient liability.
The former owners had a lot of other business interests beside the lodge. They had a partnership clause in the policy which protected them in the event of loss of services.
Kind of an ugly thought that I'll profit by Claire's death.
Clara became your partner not only in marriage, but in fact when you added her name to the lodge title, a jointly owned venture in the eyes of the law.
That's right, I remember. At her insistence, everything I had, bank accounts, so on, became jointly owned. Poor Claire, she was such an insecure person.
I just thought I'd pass this information along to you, Mr. Atkins.
Well, I appreciate that. Incidentally, how'd you come by this information? Making inquiries?
I make a lot of routine inquiries when I'm on a case.
Of course. I'm still stunned. Mr. Jones, I know you're checking out today, and I know that Lon hired you, but I want you to send me the bill. All right.
I'm planning on doing a little fishing before we leave.
Fishing? For what?
Anything I can catch, Mr. Atkins?
It's gonna get him.
You notice anything?
Not exactly an authority on wild geese.
Talking about the geese. I mean the way the picture jiggles.
My hand would be any steadier trying to follow a gaggle of geese.
Now watch. Notice anything strange now?
I don't think so.
It's on a tripod.
You're aiming your camera up at some geese. You hear a noise in the cove. You point your camera down there. Why no jiggle? Don't look look at the people. Look at the end of the boat and the edge of the picture. Taken at 50 yards with a telescopic lens handheld by Miss Renford, and it doesn't vary a hair. This camera was locked in position when she took these pictures.
Oh, she wouldn't have had enough time if she saw Claire was going to fall and wanted to get a picture of it.
If I were to ask Miss Renford, which I don't intend to, she'd say she used a tripod, which she forgot to mention.
Well, what do we do now?
Now we go fishing.
Gil, here's another letter asking a company discount. Maybe you should change your mind about turning down discount business.
Why is Jones using boat number 7?
That's the one he said he wanted.
If he talks about staying over, you tell him that we have everything under reservation from tonight on. Understand?
Gil? After Mr. Jones helping you, you don't want him around?
It's not that line. It's just that I don't want to be reminded of Claire's accident.
Hi. Hi. I hope I'm not too far away.
Let me see the fish, Dad.
One more. Dad's the biggest fishing bug in the world.
Terrific! I got it.
Well, we've got to get home. Well, I hope the weather holds for you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, I think I'm done. I'm gonna wrap it up. I gotta take care of some shit.
Son, got a question to ask you. I know you think a lot of Gil.
Oh, we've been through NAM together.
Oh.